Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the Woodruff Wolverines Coaches Show 2025 edition. We are here at Tap 3, Woodruff, South Carolina, Main Street, once again this year. And thank the Lord, it is finally football season. So for you Woodruff football fans out there, this is week 0. We'll be playing this Friday, and we are pumped to have football back in the city of Woodruff. And tonight we're going to have a couple of special guests and talk through what our Wolverines are going to look like coming up this Friday. Our first guest tonight, I want to go ahead and bring on Mr. Tom Mobley. Tom is one of our play-by-play announcers on Friday night. If you tune in to the audio broadcast, Mr. Tom Mobley and typically Morgan Smith are online bringing you the play-by-play analysis. Tom, thanks for jumping in, man. Good to see you as always.
Brad, thanks for having me. It's I really enjoyed being with you.
Yes, sir. Tom, we have been doing this for several years now. You and I kind of coordinating with technology, and we've added some video over the year, the last couple years. Hopefully, we're going to have video again this year for our home games. And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't ever get to see your face a lot since you're behind the microphone on most Friday nights. But for those folks who don't know, Tom has ties to Woodruff through Lisa Lane, Mr. Rickson Lane. And Tom actually lives down in the Columbia area, so you got a little bit of a drive every time you come up, Tom.
Yeah, I do, but I enjoy every Friday coming up and watching Wolverines play and being with all these loyal Wolverine fans.
Yes, sir. And, you've called enough games to know how electric it is on Friday nights at W.L. Varner Stadium, and we expect nothing less than electrifying game coming up this Friday against the Clinton Red Devils. Last year, I believe you and I called the game at Clinton High School to open the season. And I'm not sure if I yelled as much as I have in a long time, especially on the radio broadcast. But it was just such a back and forth game. Really great game last year. Expect nothing less this year. Tell me what you think about. You got to see our Wolverines play a little bit at the McDonald's kickoff. Give me your insight to what you were able to see a week or two ago.
Well, I think Connor Davis is going to take over at quarterback. I think he did a great job with the JV team last year, so I'm anxious to see what he's going to do in his first full season. He looked good in the Jamboree, and I expect he's going to do real well for 2025.
Yes, sir. New face at quarterback this year, and we'll have Coach Sloan talk about that a little bit more when he comes here on the show with us in just a few minutes. Got some new faces on offense, a lot of familiar faces on defense. And I was talking a little bit in the press box a couple of weeks ago at the McDonald's Classic. We've got some weapons in the kicking game. Our Australian style rugby punt is pretty deadly, and Josh Ruiz is working on making our opponents take the ball deep on a kickoff as well. So across the board, we were looking good, and really can't wait till Friday. Tom, let's talk a little bit about this rivalry with Clinton. So let's see how many Clinton Woodruff games you think you've seen so far?
Well, I started doing these broadcasts with Rickson back in 2012. So this will be my 14th season of doing this. And again, I think the Woodruff-Clinton rivalry is kind of like a Carolina-Clemson. And it's right just down the road from each other. So both of these communities enjoy their high school football.
Yes, sir. There's a storied, both have storied programs. Clinton has been exceptionally successful over the last several years as well. Coming off several state championships, and we got to see them a couple of weeks ago here at W.L. Varner Stadium, and they look like they are on track to have a really great team again this year.
Yeah, Clinton is going to do what Clinton does every season. They love to run the football. They want to control the clock. and they really come up with the players to run their system. So we expect the same thing for this 2025 season for the Red Devils.
Yes, sir. And they have a highly recruited lineman. We'll talk a little more with Coach Sloan about that coming up in a few minutes. He was exceptionally dominant the other night. When you see him, he is a big young man, and he plays football really fast, which is a deadly combination. Across the board, Clinton looked to be another tough opponent to open our season. But I come from watching Woodruff play Clinton for a lot of years, and I'm glad to have seen that rivalry continue over all these years. Because 30, 40 years ago there was a lot of 7-6 games and some 8 to 9 games. Between Woodruff and Clinton. Not quite the same anymore. It might be 50 to 48. A lot of points scored in these games now. Yeah, Tom, tell us a couple things maybe you might be excited about for the 2025 season coming up.
Well, I'm excited to see junior Aiden Gibson. We knew he was going to be something very special when we saw him in his freshman year. He had over 1,500 rushing yards last season and 24 touchdowns. Also had over 300 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's gotten better and better every season. He's gotten so many D1 offers over the last little while. So he's really something special.
Yes, sir. It's hard to believe that he's only a junior. When you stand beside him on the practice field or on the game field, he's a big young man to be a junior, and like you said, he just continually gets better and better every season. It's hard to believe he could get any better than he was last year, but I got a feeling we're going to see some pretty some pretty strong runs and some pretty athletic moves from him again this year.
Yeah, we I think we really something special out of him for this season, and he's quite possibly the best running back in the state as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I think we could make an argument for that even at the junior level. He's just big, strong, and fast, and it's hard to catch him out in the open field. But the thing that sets him apart is he can catch the football in open field as well. He's a threat in the pass game as well as in the run game, and that is the deadly two-edged sword, so to speak, for high school defenses who have to defend us.
Absolutely, and we got to mention also our tight end Cam Taylor, who again quite possibly the best tight end in the state, and he's already signed to play next season, I think, at Liberty University.
Yes, sir.
He had over 300 yards receiving last year and 24 catches, and also does a great job at blocking for a running game. So he's going to be a real asset for this season.
Yes, sir. And thankfully, we got several of our defensive players back. We had a little bit of a scare with Sean Graybill at the end of the last year with the knee, and he has pushed through, done a lot of rehab, and able to feel kind of more like himself now. Coming into this season, off a little bit of a knee injury. That last playoff game, was not able to go, unfortunately. But we're thankful to have him back. Jalen Robinson, just a ton of folks on defense that are going to be, they got to come up big for us again this year, just like they did last year. A lot of good fourth down stops, especially in that Clinton game.
Absolutely,
a lot of huge stops on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Sean, good to have him back. Had 123 tackles last season. He was the Region 3 Defensive Player of the Year. So we're going to really need him on defense. Some special things for him this season.
Yes, sir. Well, Tom, any other special highlights you want to share with us? I know you spend a lot of time during the week collecting some stats and a lot of information to share about the game coming up. Anything stand out to you about our game coming up Friday?
Well, as I think Coach Sloan has already mentioned in the previous broadcast from the Jamboree, got 6 players returning on offense and 7 on defense. And as you've already mentioned, our defense did a terrific job all last season, particularly as you've already mentioned in the Clinton game. We took a 40-36 lead late in that game. Clinton got the ball, and we were able to stop them on downs and take it over and run the clock out. So you expect nothing different from this when these two teams get together.
Yes, sir. Well, Tom, as always, I sincerely appreciate your time, and everybody tune in here to YouTube next Friday night as we take on the Clinton Red Devils here at W.L. Varner Stadium. Tom and Morgan will be on the call. And, man, I'm pumped. I don't know what it is about this year, but I've been waiting on football season to get here. It's finally here, ready to go, ready to see all levels of football happening.
Yeah, with the great season we had in 2024 with a 9-2 overall record, I think we've all been waiting for this day, just coming Friday, since last November.
Yes,
so I think we're all pumped for that, and I expect that just fans to pack the stands at W.L. Varner Stadium on Friday.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good night as always. Well, Tom, just want to say thank you again and take care. And we will see you Friday night here in Woodruff, South Carolina. Take care. We'll talk with you soon, Tom. Thanks.
Brad, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do to keep us going.
No problem, man. Take care.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right, Wolverine fans, give us just a couple of minutes, and we will be right back here from Tap 3, live on Main Street, Woodruff, South Carolina. We'll be back in just a couple of seconds. All right, everybody, we are back with Woodruff High School football coach Brett Sloan. Coach, this is episode 1 of our week 0 football game. Football is back in the city of Woodruff. Ready or not, here we are. It is game week against the Clinton Red Devils. I don't know about you guys as far as the staff goes, but I am thankful football season is finally here. Feels like it's been forever since we played a game.
Yeah.
It may have come quick for you guys. I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously we're really excited. I mean, it's always good to get back in the season, but you always feel, as a coach, you always feel like you hadn't had enough time to get them ready. You know, like there's always things like, you're like, have we done this enough? Have we done this enough? Have we covered this situation? Have we covered, you know, so there's always a feeling of you wish you had a little bit more time, but all at the same time, you're glad it's here. And you know, I know our kids are excited, you know, to get into a normal routine, a weekly routine. Coaches are excited to get into that, you know. and then obviously to play meaningful games against people in a different uniform, So yeah, we're really excited and can't wait to get started. So
Nice. Well, as we have the last couple years, we're opening up with one of the toughest opponents on the schedule, in my opinion. Even though they're a 2A school, they play like a 4 or a 5A most of the time. But Clinton High School is always a tough opponent. It doesn't really matter what year it is. Clinton always brings their A game versus the Wolverines. It's been that way for, my gosh, 50 plus game, 50, 60 plus games. I don't know the exact number of games, but Garrett Mitchell can pop in and give us the exact number of
if
games
anyone
we played.
can. Garrett can.
But here we are. For a lot of years, we used to end the season playing the Clinton Red Devils. The past few years, we've opened up the season against the Clinton Red Devils. Coach, if people were at the McDonald's Classic, they were able to kind of see a little bit of a preview of the Clinton Red Devils and our Wolverines. Tell us what Clinton brings to the table for us on Friday.
I mean, I think you look at them and they're a typical Clinton team. They're fast. They play fast. They're physical. They have a brand of football that is very in your face and physical, and they're going to run counter, many different ways. They're going to run power many different ways, and they're going to be good at all of them. And they're going to give you a lot of different misdirection and things like that. And they have good athletes that if you don't do your job, it can be an explosive play on offense. And then,
right.
On defense, they just fly around. They get to the ball. They're good tacklers. They defeat blocks. They're good with their hands. They're not really overcomplicated on defense, but most time, coach talk.
Right.
Really good defense play base. They play base and they run to the football and they play their keys and. That's kind of what you get with them. They like to force the issue with some pressure and things like that, and they're not afraid to play you in man coverage. But they definitely have a style of play that is unique to them and how they do some things. But they're going to force the issue with pressure and man coverage, and they're going to try to rattle your quarterback. And they do a good job of. They're very committed to taking your run game away, and making you make your quarterback beat you, So that's just kind of what they hang their hat on, and they're really good at it, and we got a lot of respect for what they do, and I know it's going to be an unbelievable football game Friday night. So,
tell us a little bit of what you know about. They've got a pretty outstanding young man at lineman position. What kind of trouble is he going to bring to the table for us?
He can bring as much trouble as he wants to most of the time. He's just that. He's a really good football player. Really, really big, very athletic for a guy that size. Great length. He's excellent. He's excellent in run blocking. Obviously that's what they hang their hat on. So he's really good at that. Man, when he's able to down block you, he really collapses an entire side of the line of scrimmage. So he's just a very good, very physical, very strong football player, and they want to run behind him, and I would too,
Yeah.
So he's NC State's getting a good one in Trey Aiken, that's for sure. So
right,
and we'll have our hands full there. So
well, Coach, you've been around South Carolina football for a long time, and Clinton was known for wishbone power offense for the majority of the existence of the school. And over the last few years, they've kind of hybrid morphed to keep the power, but looking a little bit more spread. And it can kind of be deceiving, and they have tried to adapt to, I guess, a little more modern.
Yeah, it's
football.
kind of an evolution of the old wing tee, or it really is very similar to what Paul Johnson used to run at Georgia Tech and Georgia Southern, as far as it's very flex bone principle type stuff, but it's just out of the gun, and they do some unique things there that can give you some issues, but like you say, they've kind of morphed it into a semi-spread deal where they have a capable passing attack too. You know?
Yeah,
and
that's I guess that's a little bit of what's deceptive is they can throw the ball around.
They're going to run it as long as you'll let them run it. But they are always going to have. They're going to always have good passing concepts that protect their run game. So if you get to where you're overcommitting and you're rallying on the back end a little too fast and things like that, and you get DBs who are getting their eyes caught in the backfield and they're not, they'll sneak people behind you and past you really quickly. And they can cause explosive touchdowns in the passing game as well. So
right. Well, let's move on to this year's edition of the Woodruff Wolverines. Coach, I know you did a little. I hate to use the word rebuilding on offense, but we lost a good bit of our guys up front. I've got a new quarterback this year, and and like I said, I hate to use the word rebuilding, but we did have to replace a few of our guys on offense that have been around for a long time and kind of know the speed of the game on a Friday and those kind of things. What was the challenge kind of coming in to sort of get the offense into the place we need to be to start the season off?
Well, I mean, there's no substitution for experience, and the thing is, especially on the offensive line and at the quarterback position, there's just every experience is a new experience. Every time they've been in that situation, it's the first time they've been in that situation a lot of times at that level, So there's a lot of learning on the fly, I guess I would say, and there's a lot of things that you really can't evaluate where they're at until they go out there and they do it underneath the lights, and so that's a challenge, but it's one of those things where, look, we've been pretty explosive on offense already so far. Yeah. We've been inconsistent as far as moving the ball at times, but when we have moved it, we've moved it in a hurry in huge chunks, So, and a lot of the things are minor things that just need time and they need reps, and we need to clean them up, and it's just part of it. This is an offense that I feel like, I don't know, we might not be quite as good on offense early in the year as we were last year, but I could see us being very, very good on offense by the end of the year. As those guys get, some plays and some series and some games under their belts, I feel like this could be an offense that really takes off in the second half of the season. And I feel like we're really close right now. I mean, if you were there last Friday night, I mean, the first series was, it was 5 plays, 80 yards, bam, 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 and we looked like we were just a well-oiled machine. Yeah. And there were times in that game where we looked, very in sync, and then something threw us off, and just trying to get back into that rhythm, and that just comes with time, and it comes with snaps, and it comes with reps, So.
Yeah. Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we were 270 yards of offense in 2 quarters.
I think it was 267 and a half.
This past Friday in 2 quarters.
8.1 yards per play. You know, and we really felt like we should have had 350 yards of offense. Yeah. We did some things, and we threw some interceptions, and some of them, some of it was on Connor, but they wasn't all on Connor. Some of the interceptions, there were some things there that some minor details that unless you know exactly what we're teaching in the scheme, you wouldn't know that there are other people that actually help contribute to those interceptions.
Sure,
So, but those are things that, and Connor knows what he did wrong too, and he's going to grow from it, and we feel like this offense is close to taking off. We just gotta get a couple things fine tuned.
Yeah. Well, it's starting off with Clinton is a kind of a tall task of some sorts to with the rivalry factored in, and Clinton coming off a state championship as well is another it's another challenge because they come in and they're looking for blood against the Wolverines every year. Yeah. So they're definitely going to be a tough challenge coming in Friday. but got every faith that you guys are going to have our guys ready to go. And
well, I mean, you find out quickly where you're at, and that's always a good thing, So, and you got to play a good schedule. If you want to be good in November, you got to play a good schedule, and that's part of it. And we look forward to a really good challenge Friday night, So.
Yeah, Coach. We Tom Mobley mentioned earlier. You have pretty fairly high profile player like Cam, who has made his commitment already to Liberty University. One of the best tight ends in the state, and that's a honor to be in that category. And Cam is a really great young man, and you and I both have been around him a good bit, and super thankful for him to have that opportunity to go play at the next level. And I was talking to him the night of his announcement, and he said something to me that maybe you want to chime in on. But at this level, when you're a senior and you're trying to decide where you're going to go, and there's so much stuff going on surrounding making a commitment and picking a school, and kind of being courted by NIL and all these other things. And I really, really appreciated the fact that he and his family kind of thought through that whole process. They wanted to make the decision before the regular season started. No distractions, no anything to get in the way of trying to focus on playing high school football at his last season. And as a senior, I know that's special to guys to be able to play and be successful in their senior season and not have all of that other distractions in the way. So I don't know if you want to speak into that, but I know we have a couple of guys that are being recruited pretty heavily right now.
Well, they find out kind of. It doesn't take long, to find out that stuff's really cool. Those experiences are really cool.
Yeah.
But they also get, I don't want to say old's probably not the word, but they wear on you a little bit, because there is a lot of, because up until you commit, you're getting text messages and DMs from all these people around the clock. You're getting calls from people when they're actually able to call, and you're getting all this stuff.
Right.
And, everybody in the country wants you to come visit their campus, and there's pressure into making a decision of which ones you're going to visit and which ones you're not going to visit. Who are you going to tell no to? Who are you going to tell yes to? And it's hard. I try to guide them, and look, you can't tell it. You can't tell everybody yes. Like, it's just not human. It's not feasible for you and your family. So you kind of have to weed some of them out, and then you have to make some choices. And there's a lot that goes into all that. And then there's the travel, and then there's all that stuff. So I think they've been really wise in how they've handled it. And I would if anybody else goes to that, I would actually push them to kind of talk to Cam and his family, and because I think they've done a really good job of that. And it's there's a balance there between trying to get all you can out of it, and being like, what, I got some pretty good stuff on the table, and
I think another unique thing with Cam's situation, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's graduating in December from high school.
He'll be graduating in December and enrolling in January at Liberty, and that's what that's kind of what most people want you to do now.
Right.
And it's kind of a little bit different world than it used to be. And so. We'll only get him for a few more months, and we're going to try to make the best out of it. He's had, he's had unbelievable practices. I feel like he's practicing better than he ever has. Cam does a lot of things that, that's kind of what most people see the touchdowns and they see the big catches. They don't see all the other things that he does, and they don't. Unless you really understand football, you don't understand the versatility that he brings to us, because he can split out wide. We play him all the way out at the X receiver sometimes, and then he'll be in the slot, and then he'll come in and attach as a tight end, and there's just so many things that he can do, and to be able to formation people like that without ever taking anybody off the field is. I know we talked about that before on here. I mean, that's a really big deal, and you don't have that guy every year in high school, So it's he's a blessing to coach, and it's my honor to be his coach. So I'm glad, and I wish him the best senior year. I wish him the senior year he deserves.
Yes, sir. Let's kind of talk just for a few minutes about defense and special teams. Defensive side of the ball, we probably got more guys coming back than we did on offense, I guess technically. What are you excited about with our defense coming back?
I think I'm excited about their experience, and just their maturity. We have. I don't know that I've ever had this, but I think we have 10 of our 11 starters are seniors on the defensive side of the ball. And then there's the lone sophomore corner who started as a freshman, so he's got some experience under his belt too. So I think the experience and the maturity of that group, they're big and strong. Usually when you have a senior heavy team, you're usually big and strong. And this group is particularly big and strong, and they're fast, and now we've had to slide people around to different positions and all that stuff kind of to get the best people on the field.
Right.
But we feel like we've got that, now we're pretty close to it, and they got a chance to be good. We got to do our job, and that's what I told them. That's what I've harped on every day this week is when you play this offense that you're going to play this week is they're trying to find the guy who won't do his job, and then they're going to exploit that, and they're trying to find a chink in the armor, and if they find it, they're going to really take advantage of it, so you have to do your job. You can't just go chasing what you see in the backfield. Mm-hmm. You got to do you got to have great eye discipline, and you got to have do what your key tells you to do, and you got to have 11 guys who are, in sync, and nobody trying to be the hero. Everybody's just trying to do their job and do it really well, Yeah. But we're excited about that group. They got a chance to be good, so.
Well, as far as special teams goes, I've mentioned this for the last couple of years, but having Jackson punting is going to be just an incredibly huge weapon for us to be able to flip the field on opponents. Because he can make the precise kicks that we need. He can make the rugby-style kicks that we need. And that's going to I mean, I'm not trying to prophesy here, but I feel like that's going to – you guys are going to rely on that some as well.
He's a weapon now, and you don't get very many like him in high school. And I told him the other day, if somebody doesn't sign him, they're crazy, because I watch him punt every single day. And, wow, it's and, he's doing a lot of that just on raw natural ability.
Correct,
Like a lot of punters have – their own individual guys that they see and train with, and he's out there booming. He hit one from the 40. He was just simulating kickoff for us today, and he kicked it through the uprights from like 60 yards through the uprights. Like he literally made a field goal on a punt, and I'm like, wow, who does? It probably was a 65-yard punt.
Yeah, in Canada, you can get points for that.
Yeah, right? It was wild. So. He's a weapon. We're glad, we're happy with the progress that Josh Ruiz has made as well.
Sure.
He looked really good kickoff today. And I encouraged him to. He's a big kid too, big strong leg. He's just looking for consistency and confidence. And we believe he's really close to getting there, and we think he's put in a lot of good work, and we think he's going to have a good senior year as well. So
yeah, and I know the kick game is something in high school football that I think is vitally important. I mean, you can use it as a weapon to pin when your opponent's got to go 90 or 80 yards as opposed to 60. That's a huge
big deal. It's hard to go 80 yards. It really is. Yeah. It's really hard to go 80 yards. And it's if you make people go 80 yards, most offenses, they'll mess it up themselves, Yeah.
It tends to take pressure off the defense too, in my opinion. When you're able to have, get them some confidence, you're starting at the 15 or the 20.
Sure, and offenses are, by nature, most offenses are more conservative when their back's kind of to their own goal line, a little bit, and so it's a big deal.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, like I said earlier, I'm pumped that football season is back. I don't know why I'm so excited this year specifically, but I'm glad it's back around. I'm glad we're playing football here in Woodruff again, and look forward to seeing what our Wolverines are going to do on Friday night. Anything else you want to share with us before we close?
Let's introduce our next guest. I think
Sure.
We're going to have Coach Lewis. Coach Lewis Chris Lewis is our new offense coordinator. Coach played at Burns. He's a Spartanburg County native. Has spent the last almost 8 years in Texas, and he's he's a brilliant offensive mind. He is a really, really good football coach, and he's a really good person, and we're really glad to have him. He's bringing a little bit of a unique style of offense to what we do. I think we're very different in what we do right now with some things, and I think it's going to be a huge advantage for us, and we're glad he's here, and we're glad he's a Wolverine. So.
Yes, sir. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring up Coach Lewis, and we'll introduce you guys to him real quick. Thank you, Coach. Okay, folks, we're back with Coach Lewis, and Coach is a new face here of the coaching staff this year, not necessarily a new face to the upstate of South Carolina. But Coach, we're pumped to have you here in Woodruff. Thank you for coming in and talking with us tonight. We love to kind of help our Wolverine fans out there meet our new coaches when they come in, because it's a lot of community happens here, and, people want to know, well, we hadn't seen that coach before. So I love to take some time to bring you up, kind of share a little bit about your story, where you're from, all those kind of things. And as Coach Sloan said, we know you were at Burns for a while. And so what was the progression of moving to Texas? How did all that come about?
All right, so like you said, I graduated from Burns, went to Clemson, was a student assistant there for 3 years. Then at the time, the athletic director at Easley High School was Chris Carr, who happened to be my government econ teacher in high school.
Okay.
So he invited me and another guy that coaches, Jordan Dura. He's OC at Burns, and invited us to come out and help out in the off season. And that just kind of turned into them wanting to pay us to coach. So we're like, well, that sounds like a great deal. So graduated Clemson, went to Sumter High School for a year. Moved back to the upstate, had 2 years at Bowling Springs High School. Great place there. Actually got to work with Coach Goff there.
Nice.
So he's familiar to me. And then Coach Lane ended up calling me.
Oh, that guy.
Like that
You
guy.
got to watch out for that guy.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that guy. He got me back over there. So I was at Burns for 2 years, and then had an opportunity to go be an offense coordinator down at Colleton County with Kobe Peeler, who also worked at Woodruff back in the day.
That's right.
Spent a year there, and just kind of wasn't the place for me. And I had a friend that was living in Houston at the time, and he was coaching football out there, and just really loved the experience. And I was single at the time, so moved out to Houston. Coached for 4 years at Fort Bend Travis High School. Had a really great experience there. That's where I met my wife.
Texas girl.
Yep,
All
she's
right.
from Houston, or Mo City, as she likes to say, Missouri City.
Gotcha.
But then we got married, moved up to Fort Worth, had an opportunity at Richland High School. Been there the last 3 years, had a lot of success, coached with some great coaches, got to coach some great players in my time there. And then, it just happened to work out. It was time to come home. Timing just kind of worked out.
Gotcha. Well, I've been through the Dallas-Fort Worth area and got to walk through some of those stadiums out there. I don't know if you can explain to people that might be watching or listening. They say everything's bigger in Texas, but when it comes to high school football and high school football stadiums, that's literally what it means out there.
Right.
A lot of Division II, Division I schools, some of them would love to have these facilities out there. What is it like at that at that level of high school football? Like from being from South Carolina, going out there. Can you feel a huge difference? What are some differences you can tell?
A little bit. So what people don't realize, they talk about how much money they spend on these stadiums and stuff. Well, what they don't realize is some of these stadiums are shared by multiple schools within the whole school district. That's why they're so big.
Like four high schools share the same stadium.
In Fort Bend ISD, there were 11 high schools sharing two.
Oh my gosh.
And then Katy High School, we got to play there. That's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
They got about 9 high schools, but that was one of the best atmospheres I've been in. We played Katy High School in the playoffs. Now, that didn't turn out too well for us. that one was over fairly quickly, but they were really good. Now Allen, everybody hears about them. That's a big exception. That is one high school, but they got the money to do it. But what people don't realize is, while they talk, the stadiums make the headlines and stuff. Well, those districts, they're also building fine arts center and things like that for all students. So, and everybody uses it, even the indoor facilities like the band, softball, baseball. They all use them.
Gotcha.
You know, so it really is still a community environment. Now, I will say this: what I'm looking forward to, because even though you have those large stadiums, they're not always full. There was only like a time or two where they were actually full. Like this past season, we played at the Cowboys indoor stadium.
Yep.
That was neat, but it was about half full.
Kind of empty, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of cavernous.
Right.
So what I'm looking forward to is having a full stadium at Warner Stadium on Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Hint to Friday.
Yeah, y'all come out.
Make sure you guys buy a ticket, come out and be loud to support these young men and these coaches who've put in a ton of work over the past couple months. Well, Coach, we're pumped to have you here, and thankful to bring your style of offense and your expertise in. Tell me a little bit about maybe, I know you mentioned Coach Lane. Who are some of the other influences from your offensive mindset over the years that you feel like have spoken into what you do as an offensive coach?
Well, first off, I have to a lot to Chad Smith, who's now the AD at Pickens High School. He was the head coach at Easley, and we ran somewhat of a contrarian offense there. First year we were double wing, then we were single wing. Being from Burns, I had no idea what any of that was.
That's right, yeah.
So learned a lot there, and then I learned a lot from Travis Miller, who was he was the OC at Bowling Springs.
That's right.
He's now the AD at York. Learned a lot there, and then my first year in Texas, I was actually coaching defense. I was a linebackers coach, and that helped me develop a much different vision of the game and helped me understand both sides a little better.
Right.
And then, I worked for Trey Sism. He's, if you look him up, pretty inspirational guy.
Right.
He's still battling cancer to this day, and he never missed practice.
Wow.
So pretty inspired by his perspective on life and balance and things like that. And then the last guy I worked for, Jed Cates, really, really creative when it comes to special teams and program-wise, and just trying to find the perfect practice schedule and how it flows the best and how it matches up with the game. So I'd say those guys influenced me most. And then another guy when it comes to our current system is Hank Willis, a guy I worked with at Richland. We started getting to the Baylor system from like mid-2000s, 2010s.
Right.
It's weird to say 2010s on here,
Yeah.
But a lot of influence with the wide splits, using the whole field, that kind of thing.
Yeah, very cool. Well, coming in as the first year OC here at Woodruff, you inherited a pretty nice little set of skill set players. The offensive line guys have been working hard to develop and get that mesh together that they need. The guys up front from last year had been playing together for a long time, and there's chemistry there when you've had the same guy to your left or to your right for a couple of years in a row. Tell me your outlook and what coming in and seeing what our kids had to bring to the table for this year's 2025 edition of Woodruff offense. To give us a little insight to what you're thinking when you came in.
Yeah. So offensive line wise, a lot of those guys are playing multiple sports. Some of them were still like throwers in track and things like that. So didn't get to see them too early, but every time I see them, they get better.
Yeah.
Every time out.
It's been evident over the past couple scrimmages.
Yes, for sure. Like, I've been very pleased with Dawson Clevenger. I think he's doing a good job at anchoring down the middle. Paul Davis gets better every time. Ian Jones is going to be dominant eventually.
Yeah.
Grayson Patterson, extremely athletic.
Right.
We got Jaden Hunter, who's learning, but he gets better every time out. And then Onyx Green is another guy that rolls in, and he had pretty good scrimmage the other night, I thought.
Right.
Out wide, obviously, you got the headliners, people, the ones that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of the offense is to get the man the ball.
Yeah.
I think we know. Good thing is we got a few of those.
That's right.
But even like guys like Rylan Renfro, Skylar Barker, Dre Jenkins, and Curtis Bell, they're dangerous too.
You got some
we
depth,
got a lot of guys that can score the touchdown
that's
play.
Right. That's what's cool to me about this offense is, Aiden and Cam have got a lot of press, which is great. They're awesome. I love those guys. But we got some depth with Corey and with all those other guys that can step in and can kind of surprise you as well if we need to, which is great.
Yep. I'm pretty excited about them.
Yes, sir.
Like another one to mention was Jalen Lyles.
That's right.
Hey, I finally got to see him, and he hits the hole.
That's right.
Like, honestly, he had the first carry he had really should have been thrown to a receiver.
Yeah.
But he split the linebackers in two and got an explosive play on it, so I was pretty pleased with that.
That's great because because the farther we get along in the season, people, some people kind of keyed on Aiden a little bit and whatnot, and that's understandable. But to me, when he comes in, you got another running back weapon as well that you need to be you got to be prepared for on defense. So that's just another kind of a double. I don't know if we want to call them thunder and lightning. I don't know if we want to call them thunder and lightning yet.
Sometimes they can be thunder and thunder.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes that happens.
That's right.
But no, I'm very pleased with the amount of depth we have at such a, smaller school than I'm used to being at. All the schools I've been at have been over 1,500 kids. So
right.
That's been some adjustment. But out there on the field, I feel like we got a full complement of what we need. Yeah. And I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far. It's just a matter of us being able to get outside and practice sometimes, Yeah. But we've strung a couple of good reps in a row, so I'm feeling much better.
Well, last year we dealt with Hurricane Helene coming through, and I think it was upwards of close to 30 days of basically no meaningful football, and having to come back and play, a region opener was a tough. That was a tough task for all of us guys. Hoping and praying that we don't have to deal with any of that Mother Nature kind of nonsense this year, hopefully. But Coach, just wanted to say thank you for coming in and talking with us. Great to meet you. Great to get to introduce you to the Woodruff Wolverines fans out there. Of course. And we're looking forward to an exciting game of against Clinton Friday night here at W.L. Warner Stadium. Anything else you want to share with us before we get?
Hey, I just look forward to seeing everybody out there on Friday and seeing a full stadium,
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about it.
Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up here for episode 1 of the Woodruff Wolverine Coaches Show. Once again, we are live here at Tap 3, Main Street, Woodruff. Thanks to Ben Harrison and all the folks at Tap 3 for being gracious hosts. We're going to be here next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Come out. Grab something to eat. Come out and throw out some questions for Coach Sloan. And we would love to see you here. I know that our team and coaches would love to have a packed stadium on Friday. So weather's going to be great. 78 degrees on Friday. Going to feel like football weather. So you folks make plans to come out and support these young men and coaches and band and everybody who will be there on Friday night against the Clinton Red Devils. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we're going to sign off. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7 o'clock right here at Tap 3. You guys take care. Have a good evening.